everybody. Meet my son Ryder, one of my 4 beautiful children. When Ryder was the age that Legos were choking hazards, the tooth fairy made monthly visits, his shoes were Velcro, not laces, Ryder was not a boy. He was Batman. For 3 years, my son wore that superhero costume every single day. One day, he got the crushing news from his preschool teacher. He was no longer allowed to wear the cape to school. Well, how do I tell Ryder he's not Batman when it's so obvious he's Batman? Because without a cape, as he said to me, I'm not Batman at all. Now, I like to pride myself on being a pretty good mom, which means I'm a great negotiator. We came up with a solution. Just put it underneath your school clothes. They make the rules fine. We come up with a solution. New rules, new solutions. But Batman, that was his true calling. Who were they to take that from him? Who were they to tell him no? Well, fast forward to 2020, and all of a sudden, I'm the one that's being told no. The birth of a global pandemic brought new rules, and like Ryder, my identity was on the line. I'm the one that's having to wear all the street clothes, capes, and hats all at once. Well, let's be honest, not hats. Hats do not work with this hair. I'm pretty sure you could agree. It's difficult. We don't touch hats. But you're following me because here I am, the mother of 4, running 2 businesses in the middle of a pandemic, and suddenly I'm everything to everyone. 7th grade humanities teacher, lab assistant, math fact checker, and short order cook. Lucky Charms counts as dinner. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And in one moment, I'm also nothing to anyone. Does this sound like you? Was this you too? And you're supposed to do it from behind a computer screen for the 6th day in a row in the same sweatpants. And it got so bad that you didn't think, and I didn't think, we'd hit the end of Netflix. But we did, right? Remember back to the Tiger King days, and we thought this will be an amazing 3-week break. Well, we hit the end of Netflix, and all hope is lost. I joke, but here's what really happened for me. See, the closest natural thing I know of to any superhero is any mother. And pre-pandemic, each morning I'd put my mom's superhero cape on, I would drop my kids off at school, and let me explain. You know how Clark Kent would enter a telephone booth and come out as Superman, right? Well, my version, the Starbucks drive-thru. So I have my mom's superhero cape on, I drop my kids off at school, I go through the Starbucks drive-thru, and I become a working woman. I have my venti dark roast in hand, nothing's gonna stop me, and by the time that coffee cup is empty, I've done a solid day's worth of work, I put the superhero cape back on, I get into the always mismanaged carpool line, and I become a mom again. Well, guess what happens in a pandemic? I don't have a drive-thru. I don't have a Clark Kent telephone booth. I don't know who I am anymore because somewhere in between the Lucky Charms, the 6-day-old sweatpants, and the end of Netflix, I was at the end of my rope. Like so many other women at the end of their rope came the end of their careers. After centuries of forcing our way into the workforce, women have now been forced to leave, possibly to not return. More than 2 million women have lost their jobs in this pandemic. Less than half have been hired back. That number staggeringly higher for women of color. Throughout the pandemic, Black, Hispanic, Asian women have seen higher unemployment rates than white women. This pandemic stripped us of everything inside and outside the home. The World Economic Forum says it's going to take another generation of women, more than 135 years, for gender parity. That's up from an estimated 99 years before the pandemic, and please take a beat with me. When I saw that number, it was not the increase of 36 years that stopped me in my tracks, but the fact that we stood at 135 then to 99, like where's the progress here, right? Staggering. That means not my daughter Rocket's generation, not my great-grandkids, but it won't be until my great-great-grandchildren's generation to finally close the gender pay gap as a result of this pandemic. And that's assuming we don't face another one or a different worldwide disaster. halting the current setback to women's place in the workforce is directly related to halting the setback to women's rights. And we can't lose either. We have to survive both. And just like the pandemic, we have to put the spotlight here on this crisis now so we can do something about it. The pandemic stripped us all of everything we knew, and it, just like my son's teacher, threw at me new rules, but at this point I didn't see any solutions. And mine is a story of privilege. I had hope left. I knew as a family that we were going to be okay. That is not the case for so many women whose capes were stolen way too soon. Let me introduce you to a couple of them. McKinsey & Company researched disparities in U.S. unemployment. These are two women here. Their stories struck me. First, meet Crystal. Crystal dropped out of school after the 10th grade. She worked full-time ever since. And at the age of 39 now, in this post-pandemic economy, if you could even call it that, her job is more likely given to a 16-year-old. She can't catch up. New rules, no solution, and her cape is stolen. Meet Farida. She had a fast-paced, exciting career in HR. She loved her work. She would have never left her job if it weren't for the pandemic. But here's the thing. Someone had to stay home with the family. It wasn't even a discussion with her husband that she be the one to step back. New rules, no solution. Her cape is stolen. So many women like this. So many women, we could actually fill 60,000 yellow school buses full of talented women who have now been silenced. Their capes are gone. The rules have changed. They don't see any solutions. What if I just said to Ryder, you know what, stop playing dress up. Stop pretending who you could become. What would have happened to his heart or his spirit? What are we going to say to all of those women, to myself and to you? This isn't playtime. It's not dress up. Millions of women are now one paycheck away from being able to take care of their families. They could have been the ones with the next invention or to find a cure for cancer or be that one teacher that made such a difference in a child's life. Capes have all kinds of superpowers. It's why we need them. Every movement we've ever seen for positive change in this world, from women's suffrage to civil rights, started with women. And important to note, usually women of color, women that knew even if you couldn't see their cape, they knew they had one. So here I am on this stage because my power and your power, my voice and your voice will not be silenced. This world has new rules, so it's time for new solutions. I believe we can be activated by reclaiming, reimagining, and repaving the way for both ourselves and the women that come next. Reclaim. It's not what you think here. It's not the job. If it were only that simple. The reclaiming here is the parts of you that you lost, and everybody lost something different. Each of you left something behind, and it's all of equal value. I lost the ability to turn off. I became the real life Siri. Working from home was the new living at work. The lines were blurred more than ever between working and parenting. What is clear is that everyone lost something different. And for every woman who has achieved any success at any level, at any job, she has strengthened the road and made it passable for the woman that comes after her. And for every woman that was forced out of that work, whether a bus driver, an engineer, a barista, an attorney, it doesn't matter. It's going to undermine the future progress and success of all women. Each of these women left something behind, and each of them deserves to reclaim it. But how? Reimagine. Reimagine who we can become in this new not normal. Reimagining a role that builds in flexibility, work from home options, childcare and office buildings. That sounds great, right? I think we all know that it's not easy to change, nor not always in our control. But what we do know is from decades of social movements before, whether it be Mothers Against Drunk Driving to Black Lives Matter, when women add their voices together, they are no longer whispering for change, but screaming it. And change in these pivotal areas only happen when we demand it. And reimagining this for yourself, ask, what do you really want? What do you really need? And what do you really deserve? Please know, I understand asking these questions is a luxury and privilege, but if we can, we should. Because this spotlight, this conversation, this acknowledgement that a commitment for a new way to do business only means we get more diverse and equitable talent in the room, at the table, because we don't make it impossible for a woman to be a mother or a caretaker and be a part of our workforce. A commitment to not losing the talent of almost 2 million women. Imagine this. A bridge, a beautiful structure. It's designed to carry things from one side to the other. It joins, it connects. And when you think of this bridge, think of the women that built it. From Rosa Parks to Gloria Steinem, to Anne Frank, to Maya Angelou, to Crystal and Farida, to you and to me. And right now, half that bridge is gone. Look next to you, look around you. We are the bridge. We are the ones we've been waiting for. So how do we repave? Together. History's taught us when women join forces, that's when the real change happens. Look as recently as 2017, when New York Times investigative reporters Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey ignited the Me Too movement. When they share their story, they continually say women have far more power together than separately. The power of them coming together, the ripple effect their work had on our culture is staggering. What if they decided to not pursue it? 2 women, just like you and me. Women influencing the way things have been done, because we do get a chance to rebuild what's been lost and destroyed in this pandemic. If we get involved, if we participate in organizations that mean something to each other, to shape what we want to see, help each other out. Connect someone with your cousin's best friend's babysitter that you know is looking for work. Listen to each other to share our stories of struggles and wins so that we normalize we can't do this alone. We're not meant to do this alone. Mentor each other with the talents that we do have. I've recently learned that despite seemingly impossible hurdles, that Crystal and Farida are building new paths, designing new capes. This next generation needs to see the opportunities are still there. They need to see there's another half of this bridge, because the world will suffer if the almost 2 million women who lost their voice remain voiceless. But there's still a chance to do something about it. And we will, by reclaiming the parts of us that we lost, continuing in the pursuit of reimagining and repaving with confidence, innovation, and resilience, like women have done since the beginning of time. The world makes rules, fine, but we can always find a solution. New rules, new solutions, new capes, same superpowers. Together, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you.